My name is Maria Shepard. My day job is MedEvantage. We do Medtech marketing strategy, like helping investors with their value propositions and their investor decks, and helping investors do their due diligence on whether or not the technologies they're looking to invest in really will hit the market successfully, because sometimes, as we all know, they don't. But my passion, by the way, I love what I do, but my passion is MedExecWomen. I'm a co-founder of MedExecWomen, and the goal of our organization is to create a community where none existed before for executive-level women, to be able to pull up more women into the medtech space, and create opportunities for women in medtech, because there just really aren't enough women in our industry. So our mission is to advance the impact of executive-level global female leaders in medical devices, diagnostics, drug delivery, and we're changing it from digital healthcare to health tech, because that's what the trend is. So thank you, Kelly, for being able to recognizing how important the work we're doing is. This is my clicker here, creating an opportunity for today and for tomorrow morning at breakfast. Tomorrow at breakfast at 7:30, we're going to have an all-female executive panel talking about the strategies of that they use to be able to advance their businesses. And this type of session is very similar to what we do at MedExecWomen in our all-day strategy meeting, which next year will be on April 2nd, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So as I said before, we're empowering executive-level women. Our goal is to increase the value brought to healthcare by female executives. We know that there are a lot of really great women out there who are looking for the opportunity to advance in medtech, and for one reason or another don't get that opportunity. We think that having a higher level organization, one that allows more of a top-down selection process than a bottom-up process, will be able to help move more women into medtech, up into medtech. We believe we can strengthen gender diversity with a visible female leadership pool. We'll support female executives as they navigate ambiguity, and we know there's a lot of ambiguity in our space because it's changing so rapidly, and there's so much complexity as our markets change so rapidly. We're committed to supporting female executives by creating venues to network, to refine our leadership skills, and to develop relevant expertise. And I'm going to, as I go through these slides, I'm going to point out the people, the women that are in these slides, because that's as important to this audience as talking to you about what the organization is about. So on the left, on the right, on the left in this picture is Rebecca Schechter. She's the GM of Nuance, which was acquired by Microsoft, as they work as hard as Microsoft has been working over the years to develop expertise in the healthcare space. They acquired Nuance. Nuance is the company that brought us the ability for doctors and all of us, actually, to be able to voice text rather than have to type out our information. In the middle is Jennifer Kozak. She's a business development VP for Johnson & Johnson. And on the right is Heather Knight, and she is the president of the largest division of Baxter International, mostly in the infusion division, but also in some other smaller divisions that Baxter seeks to grow. She's a real leader in Baxter, and was the leader of the last big acquisition that they did of Hill-Rom. And she is a very, very strategic person. The purpose of this particular session was to talk about multi-billion-dollar acquisitions in Medtech, and each of them has been involved in very large acquisitions in Medtech. So the theme for our last meeting, which was in May of this year, was growing your business, yourself, and your leaders. We wanted to really focus on growing our businesses and your own personal self, because we've had a lot of turbulence in the medtech industry in terms of being able to, having lots of layoffs, a lot of changes in leadership. And so we always start with a patient keynote. It's important to remember that we always are here for the purposes of patients, and that, in fact, we are all patients. That was the first panel that I just talked about. What are the implications of multi-billion-dollar acquisitions in medtech? What are the strategies behind it and the outcomes from them? And then in panel number 2, we talked about growth expectations for the life sciences market. And Boston Scientific was on that panel, as well as one of our board members, Jennifer Carter, who is an investor for Sandbox Industries. We're trying to get as many investors represented in MedExecWomen, because the investor industry is so critical to the medtech industry. BCG is one of our sponsors, and we also had Kayla Crum, who is a partner. I'm trying to remember for which company, but anyway. So the second one, we did an executive interview with Mary Beth Moynihan, also an advisor to MedExecWomen. She's the Chief Marketing Officer and Senior Vice President of Boston Scientific. And then we did 2 breakout sessions. We pretty much target VPs, the C-suite, and board members for MedExecWomen. And we wanted to be able to talk about how, if you're a VP, how do you get yourself into the C-suite? If you're in the C-suite, how do you get yourself into a board? And so we had some of these executive level people like Lisa Considine from Boston Scientific. She's a VP of Global Talent. Martha Shaden, who is a board member and is a serial entrepreneur. And then recruiters who also recruit for boards and for the C-suite. Both of these were moderated by board members for MedExecWomen. Panel 3 was business resilience in a time of uncertainty, and as you all know, we've had some times of uncertainty. Kathy Burzik was a former CEO of KCI, and Zimmer Biomet is an important company in the orthopedic space. Katie Fisher is Vice President of Strategic Customer Management at Johnson & Johnson, and BCG moderated that for us. Then we had another Johnson & Johnson person from Ethicon, Anita Khan, talking about inspiring the future generation of female leaders. We have a lot of women drop out of medtech after middle management. That's not a good thing. So we talked about how do we retain this talent and get them into the upper echelons of medtech. And our moderator was Helen Routh, who is also one of our board members. Oh, and one other thing. The woman over here in the blue jacket on the right, that's Ellen Zane, former CEO of Tufts University, a board member of Boston Scientific, very prominent across the United States in terms of influencing boards, and she's been on our agenda for a couple of years, training us all about how to set our expectations about how to be on boards. What are our rules and expectations? And how am I doing on time? Have I gone over? Yes? Then I'll leave it with this. I just wanted to say we had Marta Gayazanchi, Barcelona's own person, but Best Buy, GE Healthcare, And we also have thought leadership series that we would like to bring over here to the EU. So our date for the MedExecWomen will be on April 2nd in Boston. If you take a look at that QR code on the right-hand side, please snap that. You can take that, and it'll take you right to registration so you can get on our mailing list. I'd like to announce our next person to be able to speak, Suji Daike of Guider Surgical. Thank you very much, and come on up.